Good morning, it's Tuesday morning, it's Mission Tuesday, and I am in the treehouse. I am in Carter's treehouse. And don't ask why, just come on Sunday and you'll figure it out. But I'm here this morning to talk to you about a terrible, terrible habit of mine that I have. I have this mindset that I can do anything, and it gets worse. Not only can I do anything, but I can do it better than anybody else. Not proud of it, but that's just kind of the way I think. And there's nothing wrong with a can-do attitude, but it has its limits, doesn't it? Because we are human. There are some things we can't do or we can't do very well. And there are some things that only God can do. So it's a terrible mindset because it keeps me sometimes from realizing that there are people like me who have needs that they cannot meet. They need someone's help. And there are some people who need God, who need what only God can give them. We meet such a man in the story this morning in John chapter 5. We don't know what his name was, but Jesus, during one of the feasts, is browsing around this pool, the pool of Bethesda. And the habit of people was that those who were lame or infirm or sick would lay by the pool, and when the water was troubled, they would go in and supposedly they would be healed by the water. Now verse 4, which says an angel came down and stirred the waters, was according to modern critics, never John's words. And so most of the Bibles do not include verse 4. But they were there to be healed. And the water was moving. Now, whether it was the movement of the water or whether it was the movement of a spirit or whether it was just tradition, we don't know. But that's what was happening. And the important thing to Jesus is that this person needed to be healed. And so he goes up to him, knowing that he had been there for 38 years, paralyzed for 38 years. And he asks him one question: do you want to be healed? And the man said, and these are the words that jump out at me in the story. The man said, I have no one to put me in the water. I have no one to put me in the water when the water is stirred. How sad. Jesus goes on to heal him. But those are the words that jump out at me in this story. Here was a man who had no one. He had a need in his life, happened to be for physical healing, that only God could help. And he had no one. So Jesus heals him. I was reminded of this story when this past week I caught up with an old high school friend of mine. Her name is Judy, and I noticed on her Facebook page she had a nice Christian post, and she had somewhere along the line become a Christian. Now in high school we sang together. She had a beautiful voice, and we sang at a couple of Christian concerts together. And so I sent her a message. I said, I noticed your post. I'd love to hear your story of becoming a Christian. So she shared it. She said, we used to sing together in high school and Christian songs, and I suppose the seeds of my faith were hearing those songs and singing those words. But how I wish that you had asked me if I wanted to become a Christian. That shamed me because I knew she wasn't a Christian at the time. We had a good time singing. We were singing Christian songs, but I was a young Christian myself, and I didn't have the maturity to reach out to her. Turns out that she had in her senior year of high school, when we were doing those concerts, her father had died, and she was really hurting inside, and she needed someone. She had no one to point her to God except me. So there are people in your life who have no one to point them to Jesus except you. Why not be that someone for them? Be that someone who asks them the simple question, do you want to become a Christian? Do you know what it means to be a Christian? And go from there. But be that someone, as Jesus was and is. God bless your Tuesday.